Welcome to the Fountain of Hope. Here, we explore faith together and seek answers to life's big questions. If you're someone who values rational thinking, you've probably heard statements like these. Science is rational, while faith is blind. With modern technology so advanced, do we still need faith? In today's world, more and more people see science as the only reliable source of knowledge, dismissing faith as outdated superstition. Especially for those raised in atheistic environments, it often feels like science and faith are incompatible, like you have to choose one or the other. But if we stop and think about it, does this perspective really hold up? Are science and faith truly destined to be at odds? Or could they actually complement each other? Today, we're not here to argue. Instead, we invite you, with a rational and open mind, to join us in exploring. Is faith really irrational? Does science genuinely conflict with Christianity? Can someone with a rigorous scientific mind also be a Christian? Maybe, just maybe, today's content will give you a fresh perspective on what faith really means. Modern science has propelled humanity forward in incredible ways. Breakthroughs in medicine have saved countless lives, and advancements in technology have allowed us to explore the universe, decode genes, and even create artificial intelligence. Science helps us understand how the world works and brings us unprecedented convenience. Because of this, many people believe science is the only thing worth trusting, that faith is just an outdated relic of the past. But is that really the truth? Some say science is rational, while faith is blind. But can science truly explain everything? Science excels at uncovering the laws of the physical world, but it falls short when it comes to deeper questions like, why does the universe exist? Science can describe how the universe evolved, but it can't explain why it came into being from nothing. Why do we have consciousness? We can study how the brain functions, but we can't pinpoint how self-awareness emerges. What is the nature of good and evil? Science can analyze moral behavior, but it can't define what justice or evil truly is. Science is great at answering how, but it doesn't tackle why. Let's look at one of the most striking pieces of evidence: DNA. DNA is like an ultra-advanced programming language. It's far more complex than the binary code of computers, just zeros and ones. It uses 4 bases, A, T, C, G, to encode the information for all life. Think about it. If you opened a computer program and saw millions of lines of precise code, would you believe it came together by pure chance? If even a simple piece of software requires a programmer, how could something as intricate as DNA, more complex than all programming languages combined, emerge randomly? A programming language points to a programmer. Information points to a designer. DNA points to a creator. Francis Collins, the geneticist who led the effort to decode the human genome, went from being an atheist to a Christian. He said, "When I saw the exquisite design of life, I couldn't help but believe in a creator." Faith isn't blind. It's a choice rooted in reason, evidence, and logic. The real superstition is dismissing every possibility without even thinking it through. So, does science really have to clash with faith? Many people believe that science and faith are at odds. After all, science relies on experiments and data, while faith involves the supernatural, things that seem impossible to verify with scientific methods. This leads some to say, as science advances, God will be phased out. But is that really true? If science truly disproves faith, why is it that so many of history's greatest scientists were Christians? Take Isaac Newton, the father of classical physics. After studying the workings of the universe, he said, "This marvelous order of the cosmos could never be a mere accident." Michael Faraday, who discovered electromagnetic induction, saw science as a way to explore God's created world. Blaise Pascal, the mathematician and physicist, once wrote, "There's an infinite void in every person that only God can fill." Even Francis Collins, one of the scientists who decoded DNA, started as an atheist, but after studying the complexity of the genome, he became a Christian. He said, "The moment I unraveled the genome, it was like hearing the voice of God." If science really opposes Christianity, why didn't these brilliant minds abandon their faith? Why did their scientific discoveries only strengthen it? The truth is, science and Christianity have never been enemies. In fact, the rise of modern science owes a lot to the Christian worldview. In ancient times, many civilizations saw the universe as chaotic and random, not worth studying. But Christianity taught that the universe was designed by a wise creator, meaning it follows patterns that humans can understand and explore. That's why nearly all the pioneers of modern science grew up in a Christian culture. They believed that if God created the world, it must have order and be worth investigating. Far from disproving God, science helps us marvel even more at his creation. As physicist James Maxwell put it, scientific research is a way to ponder the great works of God. Of course, some bring up Galileo and Copernicus, claiming Christianity once opposed science. Yes, there were moments in history when certain church leaders, misinterpreting the Bible, resisted scientific ideas. But that doesn't mean Christianity itself is against science, just like a few bad doctors don't discredit medicine as a whole. True Christian faith isn't afraid of science. Truth has nothing to fear from investigation. Science explains how things work, while faith answers why things exist. They're not rivals. They complement each other. A lot of people say, "I don't believe in God because there's no evidence." But have you ever considered that many things we believe in life aren't based on seeing them with our own eyes, but on having enough reason to trust they're real? Do you believe in black holes? Have you ever seen one? Do you believe your great-great-grandfather existed? Did you meet him in person? We believe in these things because the evidence is solid and the reasoning holds up. So, is there evidence for God's existence? Let's go back to DNA. DNA is the foundation of all life. It's not just a biological building block. It's an information coding system. Computer programs are built with zeros and ones, but DNA's code is far more intricate. It uses 4 bases, A, T, C, G, to encode information with stunning precision, storing and transmitting it efficiently. Imagine you're walking on a beach and see the words "Welcome to Earth" written in the sand. Would you think the waves just randomly washed them up? Of course not. Information implies intelligence. A code implies a design. But some argue life came about through random mutations and natural selection. No creator needed. Here's the question: can random mutations really produce increasingly sophisticated coding logic? In physics, there's a principle called the law of entropy. Systems naturally move from order to disorder unless something intervenes. Think about it. If you shake a completed puzzle, it doesn't get neater, it falls apart. If you stop cleaning your room, it doesn't tidy itself, it gets messy. DNA is the same way. Purely random mutations would make genes more chaotic, not more organized. Natural selection can refine existing information, sure, but it can't create brand new information. It's like pruning a tree to shape it. It can't turn a lifeless seed into a towering oak. So, could a system as complex as DNA, far beyond any human programming language, really emerge from pure randomness, going from disorder to ever-increasing order? Physicist Paul Davies put it this way: in the language of DNA, we see the strongest hint of design in the universe. We don't need to see a programmer in person to know a program was written. Likewise, we may not see God, but we can recognize his existence through the information he left behind. A truly rational person doesn't just reject faith outright. They're willing to think, to seek evidence. And if a creator really does exist, then understanding him might matter more than we ever imagined. Some people say, if God exists, let him stand in front of me, and then I'll believe. But that's actually using the wrong approach to find the answer. What does science study? Science excels at exploring the physical world. Think planetary orbits, chemical reactions, or genetic inheritance. But if God is beyond the physical realm, trying to measure him with scientific experiments is like using a thermometer to measure sound or a microscope to view the galaxy. The method itself is flawed. Does that mean God doesn't exist? Just because science can't prove something doesn't mean it isn't real. We can't use science to prove mathematical laws are inevitable. Yet math is true. We can't scientifically prove there's an absolute standard for good and evil. Yet moral instincts run deep in us all. Science's silence doesn't mean God isn't there. It means science has its limits. But science does offer plenty of clues that point toward God. Take the beginning of the universe. The Big Bang Theory tells us the universe had a definite starting point. But anything with a beginning needs a cause. Did the universe just pop into existence on its own? Or was there a greater power that brought it to life? Or consider the universe's fine-tuned design. Physicists have found that the fundamental constants, like gravity or the mass of an electron, are tuned to incredibly precise values. Even the tiniest deviation would make life impossible. Is that level of precision really just a fluke? And then there's DNA. Its information coding is more complex than any human programming language. Information implies design. Could DNA really come from random evolution? Science may not be able to measure God, but it gives us plenty to think about. Imagine you're on a deserted island and find a perfectly crafted watch. You wouldn't assume the waves washed it together. You'd infer a watchmaker. The universe is infinitely more complex than any watch. Is its existence really just a coincidence? Some people ask, if God really exists, why doesn't he just show himself so everyone can see? Let's look at it from a different angle. Imagine you're playing an open-world video game. It's beautifully designed, vast maps, precise rules, a full physics system, and an intricate storyline. Now, can you see the game's creator inside that world? No, the developer isn't bound by the game's rules. He can observe everything within it, but the characters inside can't see him directly. Yet, you can sense the creator's genius through the game's design. You see stunning light and shadow effects, a complex physics engine, and storylines that tie together perfectly. You wouldn't think it all just happened by chance. You'd know there's a designer behind it. Our world is far more complex and marvelous than any game. From the laws of physics governing the universe to the programming of DNA and life, could these also point to a creator beyond our reality? If a game developer wanted to, they could leave Easter eggs, special hints that let clever players realize this isn't just a randomly generated world. In the same way, God has left clues in our world. The origin of the universe. Science can't explain why the universe exists, yet thousands of years ago, the Bible said, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." The programming of life. DNA is a code more intricate than any software. Information implies design, not randomness. Our sense of morality. Why do humans naturally understand right and wrong? If the world is just a product of random evolution, why is morality so universal? But God isn't just a game developer. If you were a character in that game, you wouldn't just be a pre-programmed bot. You'd have free will, the ability to explore, think, and search for traces of the Creator. God doesn't force anyone to believe in him, but he's left enough clues for those who are willing to look. So, will you stay content within the game's setup, or will you seek the true intentions of the Creator? Science and faith. Do we really have to choose one or the other? The truth is they focus on different areas, but both point us toward truth. Science's job is to explore how the world works. It studies the laws of the physical universe, how planets orbit, how cells divide, how light travels. Faith's job is to explore why the world exists. It ponders the purpose of a universe, the meaning of life, the source of morality, and why humans have consciousness or yearn for eternity. These aren't rivals, they're complementary layers of understanding. Science can tell us the sun is made of hydrogen and helium, while faith reveals that the sun fills the world with light and warmth. Science explains how rain forms, while faith shows us that rain brings life and hope. Science is like a flashlight, illuminating the rules of the physical world. Faith is like a compass, guiding us toward the direction and meaning of life. If someone relies only on science without faith, they might grasp how the world functions, but still feel lost about life's purpose. If someone clings to faith alone and rejects science, they might miss the wonders of how the world works, and the wisdom God gave us to explore it. Scientists can be atheists or Christians, but science itself doesn't take sides. It's just a tool, a way to investigate the world. Faith, on the other hand, helps us uncover the deeper meaning behind what science reveals. As physicist James Maxwell said, scientific research is a way to ponder the great works of God. Science and faith aren't competitors, they're partners, both leading us toward truth. Looking back at our discussion today, science and faith aren't enemies. Science explores how the world works, while faith ponders why it exists. When we gaze at the starry sky, science can tell us the universe's age or the orbits of planets. But faith reminds us that this vast expanse of stars isn't random. It carries purpose and order. Science helps us understand the structure of life, while faith invites us to reflect on its meaning. True wisdom isn't about pitting science against faith. It's about using science to marvel at the wonders of creation and faith to grasp the value of life. So, what do you think about the relationship between science and faith? Do you see the world's existence as mere chance, or does it point to something deeper? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your perspective. If today's content sparked something in you, don't forget to like and follow. Let's keep exploring faith together and seeking answers to life's big questions.